So there are more games to talk about in the Premier League, and first off, we have to talk about Aston Villa because they've been one of the busy sides in the transfer window, if you can call it that. I mean, it's been a pretty quiet transfer window for Premier League sides by their own standards, if you ask me. But Aston Villa have actually been, one of the most talked about sides. And the latest is that John Duran, is on his way to Al Nassr, and Arsenal are equally chasing Watkins. Victor, is there any logical chance that Villa could consider selling Watkins and then losing two of their strikers in the same window?
I don't know. Do you want me to sugarcoat it for you as an Arsenal
No, no,
fan?
no, it's just, no, I don't want any sugarcoating, just your
No.
logical thinking.
I don't see them selling Watkins this transfer window. It would be
Yeah,
suicide. If you look at their Champions League participation, the league standing, where they are at the moment, what they're shooting for, everything else in between, they need to hold on to him. I mean, it would have been a bit insane to leave money on the table when it comes to John Duran. As far as I know, the offer was around 70 something million pounds,
yeah,
which, when you boil it down for a substitute striker, is a lot of money. But I think they will hold on to Watkins even if Arsenal offer 100 million pounds. Emery might and perhaps even should threaten to resign if an offer is considered for Watkins.
fair enough. And moving forward, what are the chances against Wolves for Villa?
I think they're going to lose against Wolves. So
Wow.
Villa haven't impressed me much in the last 6 or 7 games. I know there has been the draw against Arsenal, but I keep feeling I keep going back to the game and thinking Arsenal were there for the taking in the second half, and Villa were just not ruthless enough. Sure, the results have been good, but if you look at the way they've been winning, it's not been all that convincing. 1-0 against Everton away, 2-1 at home against Leicester, where the Foxes were quite poor at that point, and that home draw against West Ham in the last match day, to me, they're failing the eye test. Okay, and I just think it will catch up with them against Wolverhampton.
Yeah, fair enough. And still for you, Victor, you know how they say injuries, can just derail like the form of a team completely. And for Spurs, Dragusin is the latest player to suffer an injury, and their list keeps piling up. If I remember correctly, I think they have almost 13 players out injured. Tottenham, almost 13 players out injured. Can you actually say they are maybe the most unfortunate side in the league so far?
I'm sure Postecoglou feels that way. Then again, look at what Iraola is doing with Bournemouth, despite the injuries. Uh, just against Forest, they were missing like five pretty much starters, and look what happened. With Spurs, don't get me wrong, I sympathize with them, but at the same time, I feel like they're architects of their own downfall, especially with
Yeah.
the unwillingness to adapt that defense to the context of injuries and where they are and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I agree with you on that one. And for you, Max, only 2 points separate Manchester United and Crystal Palace in 12th and 13th, respectively. This is a fixture where you really can't just say this side is going to come out on top. But who do you think comes out as winners in this game?
Well, I'm not that objective in that matchup, but I don't see United losing points in this game because Crystal Palace are not so good last time, and United are trying to do something with them. So I think they can win barely, but win.
Okay, fair enough. And Victor, Chelsea have actually stumbled lately. I remember once upon a time when we were doing this video and they were still second, and we were talking about whether they were going to keep up their chase with Liverpool, and now they are sixth. And if they don't win this weekend, they could drop to seventh if results do not go their way. And one of the culprits in their poor run of form has been goalkeeper Robert Sanchez. He has made a lot of errors, and particularly the goal Alan scored against him was just a shit show, if you like to say. Do you think it's time for them to drop him?
Okay, look, goalies are often the scapegoats, when it comes to
Yeah.
mistakes, because often enough when they do make a mistake, it ends up on the scoreboard. In Sanchez's case, however, as much as I sympathize with his difficulties at the moment, it's getting harder to justify starting him over and over. At the same time, what's their alternative? Philip Jurgensen. Not exactly a top four Prem quality goalie either. Uh,
Yeah.
what baffles me is that Chelsea, despite the countless hundreds of millions that they've invested since the new ownership came in, they still haven't gotten a top level goalie and an elite striker. That's still missing from what is, after all, a bloated squad, even after loan deals. Yeah. It's just kind of inexcusable, if I'm to be frank about this.
Fair enough. And do you think it's going to be easy sailing for Chelsea against West Ham?
No, absolutely not. So with Potter coming in, I think West Ham will find strength in adversity. They're probably going to be fueled up a bit by the absences this season, actually, as weird as that sounds. Antonio's injury and that horrific accident, and Bowen's
Yeah.
own injury struggles. I can easily see a draw in here.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. And now it's time for score predictions as usual.
Mhm.
Victor, Chelsea, West Ham.
I would say goal draw. 1-1,
Mm,
2-2. If I was to put a line, I would probably go with over 2.5 and BTTS.
fair enough. Wolves, Aston Villa.
I know I said Wolves would win. I'm sticking with that 2-1.
Okay. Over to you, Max. Brentford, Tottenham.
Mm, I'd say 2-1 Brentford.
And then Manchester United, Crystal Palace.
This one is hard. I'll go with 2-1 again for United.
2-1 for United. I've never seen a prediction where United will lose or drop a point from Max. Never. I've never seen
It's
anyone
okay.
like
You
that.
can get it. You can get that from me. Brighton had no problem against United. I can't see why Palace would.
Actually,
2-1 Palace.
I thought that United won't win against Brighton.
Well, yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. For United, though, I think it's safe to say at this point that United are just chasing the European spot. I mean, there's no title challenge for United, but let's see how far United can end up between now and the end of the season. Now, for Spurs, the injury list doesn't seem to stop. It seems like it's going on, but I like the way Victor put it. They need to adapt to the context of their injuries and the available players. So we'll just have to wait and see how all of this unfolds in the coming weeks.